Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something powerful. What if success isn't about luck, talent, or timing, but about mindset? What if the difference between people who wish for success and those who live it is what happens in their mind before the world ever sees it? Every morning, millions wake up hoping their lives will change. But the ones who make it happen, the ones who stay ahead, lead industries, and defy the odds, don't wait for opportunity, they create it. They don't have more hours in the day. They simply think differently. And today, we're unlocking that exact mindset, the mindset that turns ordinary days into extraordinary results, the mindset that separates the dreamers from the doers. So, buckle up, because what you're about to hear isn't motivation. It's a blueprint for how top performers stay ahead every single day. Most people believe success changes your mindset, that once you get the promotion, make the money, or build the business, then confidence, happiness, and drive will automatically follow. But the truth is the exact opposite. The people who win in life don't think differently because they're successful. They become successful because they think differently. Success doesn't start with a paycheck, a trophy, or a title. It starts with a decision, a quiet, personal decision deep in your mind to believe that you can create something more for yourself. Before any external win happens, there's an internal shift that says, I can do this, I deserve this, I will make it happen. That's the spark, that's where it all begins. If you study high achievers, athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, and leaders, you'll notice something consistent. They think from a place of possibility, not limitation. They don't wait for life to prove that they're capable. They decide they're capable first, and then they act on that belief until the world catches up. A success mindset isn't about pretending everything's perfect. It's about building the mental resilience to keep moving when things aren't. It's knowing that growth is uncomfortable and that failure is just data, information you use to improve. That shift alone separates those who dream from those who do. When someone with an average mindset faces a challenge, they think, why me? When someone with a success mindset faces the same challenge, they think, what can I learn from this? That single mental question changes everything. It transforms a roadblock into a roadmap. It turns frustration into fuel. It takes you from stuck to unstoppable. Think about the most successful people you know. Maybe it's a top performer at work, a business owner in your community, or a public figure you admire. They weren't born with a special brain. They just trained their mind to see opportunity where others saw obstacles. They learned to control their thoughts instead of letting their thoughts control them. The mind is your greatest asset or your biggest enemy, and the difference lies in how you use it. When you feed it doubts, excuses, and negativity, it produces limitations. But when you feed it clarity, belief, and consistent action, it produces results. That's why mindset comes before success, because the world responds to who you believe you are. It's like tuning a radio. If you're set to the wrong frequency, you'll never hear the right station, no matter how good the signal is. The same applies to life. If your mental frequency is set to fear, doubt, or I can't, then even when opportunities come your way, you won't recognize them. You'll talk yourself out of them. You'll sabotage your own growth. But if your mindset is tuned to belief and possibility, those same opportunities suddenly look like doors you can walk through, not walls you can't climb. That's the power of mindset. It's invisible, but it controls everything you do. In America, especially, where competition is fierce and attention is short, mindset becomes your real currency. Talent, education, or money might open a few doors, but your mindset decides whether you'll walk through them and what you'll do once you're inside. The U.S. is full of stories of self-made individuals. People who came from nothing, faced setbacks, and built something incredible. What's the common thread? It's not luck, it's not timing, it's mindset. They refused to think like victims. They refused to believe that circumstances had the final say. They created success in their mind first, and then turned that mental picture into a physical reality. Every great success story starts as an idea, but it becomes reality through belief. Your belief system shapes your behavior, and your behavior shapes your results. If you truly believe you can change, you'll start making different decisions. You'll show up earlier, stay later, work smarter, and take risks others avoid. That's when life starts to shift in your favor, not because luck appeared, but because your mindset made space for success to enter. It's not about fake positivity or pretending life is easy. A success mindset is about awareness. It's being aware that your thoughts have power. It's knowing that every time you say, "I can't," your brain believes you. And every time you say, "I will," your brain starts looking for ways to make it happen. This is why high achievers constantly guard their minds. They read, they listen, they meditate, they feed their brains with what strengthens them, not what drains them. They know that success starts long before the results are visible. It starts when you make the conscious choice to think differently. So if you want to unlock real success, don't chase it outside yourself. Build it inside first. Before the business plan, the strategy, or the social media post, build the mindset. Because when your mind is right, everything else follows. And that's not motivation. That's neuroscience. The brain creates patterns based on repetition and belief. So the more you think like a winner, the more your actions follow that path. Over time, success stops being something you chase. It becomes who you are. That's the ultimate secret of top performers. They don't wait for success to give them confidence. They use confidence to create success. Once you understand that your mindset is the foundation of everything you build, you stop waiting for permission. You stop needing validation. You stop making excuses. You start leading your life with intention. You start acting like the person you're becoming, not the person you used to be. And that's when life begins to transform, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. In the beginning, motivation feels like magic. It's that spark that makes you feel unstoppable. The rush of energy when you set a new goal, start a new project, or decide that this time will be different. You feel inspired, powerful, ready to conquer the world. But here's the truth that every top performer knows. Motivation fades. It's a burst of energy, not a lasting fuel source. It's like caffeine for the soul. It wakes you up, but it doesn't keep you running. And when it wears off, most people quit. That's why the real key to success isn't motivation. It's consistency. Doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. Motivation is emotional. Consistency is character. Motivation is easy. Consistency is earned. If you look at the most successful people in the world, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, they all have one thing in common. They keep showing up, not just on the good days, but on the hard ones. Not just when it's exciting, but when it's exhausting. The average person works hard when they feel inspired. The extraordinary person works hard until inspiration returns. In America's culture of hustle and grind, it's easy to mistake short bursts of effort for long, short-term discipline. But true winners understand that consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you show up, even when it's inconvenient, you're telling your mind, I can rely on me. That trust is powerful. It's what separates people who talk about goals from those who achieve them. Think about this. Every big achievement you admire is built on small, consistent actions that were probably boring, repetitive, and unseen. The bodybuilder lifting before sunrise, the writer typing through writer's block, the small business owner working weekends when nobody notices. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it's unstoppable. When you commit to daily action, something incredible happens. The process starts to rewire your identity. You stop saying, I want to be disciplined, and start saying, I am disciplined. You stop waiting for motivation, and you start becoming the kind of person who doesn't need it to begin. And that's the moment everything changes. Motivation is what gets you started, but consistency is what keeps you growing. It's easy to wake up on January 1st, set goals, and feel inspired. It's harder to keep pushing on February 15th when life feels ordinary again. That's why most resolutions fail, because they rely on feelings, not systems. Top performers understand this. They build systems, not moods. They create routines that make success automatic. When motivation disappears, their habits take over. That's how elite athletes train. They don't wait for excitement. They rely on structure. Every day is part of a rhythm. Even when they don't feel their best, they show up because showing up is who they are. It's the same mindset that powers America's most innovative entrepreneurs. The ones who keep going after rejection, after failure, after disappointment. They know that momentum is built through repetition. You can't control every outcome, but you can control your effort. Consistency turns effort into excellence. There's a phrase often repeated among high performers: you don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your habits. That means your daily routine, not your mood, determines your results. Every small decision compounds. Every day you show up, you're stacking bricks for your future. Even when progress feels invisible, you're building something real beneath the surface. And the more consistent you become, the more confidence you build. Because confidence doesn't come from hyping yourself up. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. Each day you follow through. You strengthen your identity as someone who can be counted on. You start trusting your own word, and that internal trust is the foundation of every kind of success in work, relationships, fitness, or finance. This is why people who rely solely on motivation burn out. They get caught in emotional highs and lows, always chasing that next spark instead of developing discipline. But those who rely on consistency, they win the long game. Because consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about showing up again and again, even when your best today isn't as good as your best yesterday. It's about progress, not perfection. Some days, you'll give 100%. Other days, you might only have 40% to give. But if you still show up and give that 40%, you're building a stronger version of yourself. You're proving that you can keep moving forward through the noise, the doubt, and the discomfort. And that's what creates success. When you look at any breakthrough moment, the gold medal, the $1 million business, the best-selling book, remember that it wasn't the result of one massive burst of motivation. It was the result of years of showing up when nobody was clapping. Motivation may light the fire, but consistency keeps it burning. The truth is, your future isn't shaped by what you do once in a while. It's shaped by what you do daily. The habits you build when nobody's watching determine the life you'll live when everyone is. So don't chase the next rush of inspiration. Build consistency instead, because the person who shows up every day, tired, busy, distracted, but committed, will always outperform the person who only acts when they feel inspired. Motivation starts the journey. Consistency finishes it. Every morning is a reset button, a new opportunity to take control of your story before the world starts pulling you in every direction. The way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. It's not just a cliché, it's a strategy used by the most successful people across every industry. When you wake up and take ownership of your morning, you take ownership of your life, because success isn't built in random bursts, it's built in routines. It's built in the quiet hours when nobody's watching, when you choose to start your day with focus instead of distraction. Most people begin their mornings on autopilot. The alarm goes off, they grab their phone, scroll through emails or social media, and instantly let other people's priorities invade their mind. Within 5 minutes of waking up, they've already handed over their attention, energy, and emotions to the world. High achievers do the opposite. They protect their mornings like sacred ground. They understand that the first hour of the day is the foundation for everything that comes next. They start their day with intention, not reaction. Winning the morning doesn't mean following a complicated 20-step routine. It means doing a few simple things consistently that strengthen your focus, energy, and mindset. It's about starting the day on purpose instead of by accident. When you wake up early and choose to move, reflect, or plan before the noise begins, you set yourself apart from 90% of the world. That early momentum builds confidence. It reminds you that you are in control. Not your schedule, not your notifications, not the chaos of the day ahead. Think about it. The morning is the only part of the day that truly belongs to you. Once the day starts, other people's demands begin to pile up: work, emails, messages, calls. If you don't carve out time for yourself early, you'll spend the rest of your day reacting instead of creating. That's why top performers treat their mornings as non-negotiable. They design them intentionally. For some, that means working out first thing, getting the blood flowing, and waking up both body and mind. For others, it means journaling, meditating, or reading something that feeds their focus. Some visualize their goals, review their plans, or write down affirmations that remind them who they want to be today. What matters isn't how you do it. It's that you do it. It's that you take the first slice of your day and invest it into clarity, not chaos. Because your morning mindset determines your momentum. If you start the day scattered, you spend the day catching up. If you start it grounded, you spend the day leading. This is a pattern you'll find among the most disciplined people in America. CEOs, creators, athletes, and everyday individuals who are quietly building extraordinary lives. They've learned that mornings aren't about perfection. They're about direction. Even 10 intentional minutes in the morning can shift your mindset dramatically. It could be 10 minutes of silence, gratitude, or planning. But those minutes compound. They remind your brain that you're steering the ship. When you win the morning, you start each day with a small victory, and success is built on those daily wins. Imagine waking up and beginning your day by creating instead of consuming, writing your goals before checking your messages, moving your body before scrolling through social media, speaking words of gratitude instead of complaining about what's missing. Those small choices don't seem huge in the moment, but over time, they reshape your entire life. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m. for the sake of being productive. It's about waking up with purpose. You can rise at 6, 7, or 8, as long as you own your first hour. Because the goal isn't to do more. It's to do what matters most before distractions take over. When you start your day with intention, you carry that energy into every meeting, every decision, every challenge. You respond with clarity instead of frustration. You think sharper. You feel stronger. You move faster. And here's the secret most people overlook. How you end your day affects how you start the next one. If you go to bed scattered, scrolling, stressed, or overstimulated, you wake up in the same energy. But if you end your day with gratitude, reflection, or planning, your mornings become lighter, clearer, more focused. Winning the morning starts the night before. Top performers prepare their environment for success. They set out their clothes, write down priorities, and remove distractions so that when morning comes, there's no decision fatigue, just momentum. And momentum is everything. You don't have to transform your mornings overnight. Start small. Wake up 15 minutes earlier. Spend that time doing something for you, stretching, reading, breathing, or writing. You'll be amazed how much calmer and more in control your day feels. Because success isn't something you stumble into, it's something you prepare for. Winning the morning isn't about the time on the clock. It's about the tone you set for your life. It's about saying, today, I'm in charge. When you make that choice every day, it compounds into confidence, productivity, and peace of mind. The morning is your foundation. If it's weak, your whole day wobbles. But if it's strong, your entire life gains stability. So wake up with purpose. Guard your first hour fiercely. Move your body. Feed your mind. Protect your energy. Because the people who win the morning don't just have better days, they build better lives. Win your morning, and the rest of the day will follow. Every morning gives you a choice. You can reset or you can repeat. You can start fresh, rewrite your mindset, and move forward with purpose. Or you can repeat the same thoughts, the same habits, and the same results as yesterday. And that simple decision, whether to reset or to repeat, shapes your entire life. Most people don't realize how much power they have every single morning. They wake up and immediately fall back into old patterns. They check the same apps, replay the same worries, and think the same limiting thoughts. The day feels like déjà vu because, in many ways, it is. They're reliving the same mental loop over and over again. High achievers, on the other hand, understand something crucial. Every new day is a reset opportunity. It's not just another 24 hours. It's a mental clean slate. It's a chance to pause, breathe, and choose again. When you embrace the idea of resetting, you stop being a prisoner of yesterday. You stop letting past mistakes, old emotions, or outdated stories dictate who you are today. Because you are not what happened to you. You are what you decide to do next. Resetting means taking ownership of your energy. It's about stepping out of autopilot and asking, what do I want to carry forward? And what do I need to leave behind? That simple question can transform your life. Think about how often we let one bad day turn into a bad week, or one failure turn into a full-blown identity crisis. You miss one workout and suddenly think, I've fallen off track. You make one mistake at work and convince yourself you're not good enough. You get rejected once and stop trying altogether. That's what happens when you live on repeat. You let temporary moments define permanent beliefs. But when you reset, you interrupt the pattern. You say, yesterday doesn't decide who I am today. That's the mindset of top performers, athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, and leaders alike. They don't dwell on mistakes, they recalibrate from them. They analyze what went wrong, adjust, and move forward with renewed clarity. It's not about ignoring failure, it's about reframing it. Resetting is not quitting. It's choosing to realign. It's pausing just long enough to catch your breath, reflect on your direction, and remind yourself of your purpose. Because the truth is, we all get tired. We all get overwhelmed. Even the most driven people lose focus sometimes. But the difference between those who stay stuck and those who grow is that high achievers know when to hit reset. They give themselves permission to rest without guilt. They take mental breaks to recharge instead of pushing themselves to burn out. And when they return, they come back sharper, stronger, and more intentional. Resetting is also about forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. We live in a culture that glorifies constant motion. We're told that if we slow down, we're falling behind. But here's the truth. You can't move forward efficiently if you're carrying the weight of yesterday's frustration. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is pause, reflect, and reset your mind. It could be as simple as stepping outside for 5 minutes, breathing deeply, and reminding yourself, I'm still in control. It could mean journaling your thoughts, meditating, or just sitting quietly with gratitude. Because a calm mind makes clearer choices. In business, sports, and life, momentum is powerful. But misdirected momentum can be dangerous. If you're running in the wrong direction, speed doesn't help, clarity does. That's why resetting matters so much. It's a moment to check your internal compass, to ask yourself, am I still aligned with my goals? Am I moving with intention, or just out of habit? Every successful person has moments when they drift off course. The key is to catch it early and recalibrate. You don't need to restart your life to reset your mindset. You just need one conscious decision. One decision to stop letting yesterday's limitations dictate today's potential. One decision to stop repeating patterns that no longer serve you. One decision to start fresh, right here, right now. Because success isn't about never falling. It's about how fast you reset after you do. When you learn to reset, setbacks become setups. Challenges become teachers. Every failure becomes feedback. And over time, you realize that progress isn't about being perfect every day. It's about starting over as many times as it takes. In America's fast-paced culture, it's easy to feel like every mistake is final. But the truth is, success stories are built on resets. Every major comeback, in business, sports, and life, starts with someone saying, I'm not done yet. So if you're tired, reset. If you've failed, reset. If you feel stuck, reset. Don't repeat patterns that drain you. Create habits that define you. Every sunrise is a reminder that the universe believes in second chances. The question is, do you? Because when you wake up and consciously choose to reset, your attitude, your focus, your energy, you give yourself the power to rewrite the story. And that's what high achievers do every single day. They don't live in the past, they learn from it. They don't repeat what broke them. They rebuild what strengthens them. They understand that success isn't about never falling. It's about mastering the art of the reset. So the next time life hits you hard, pause, breathe, reflect, then say it out loud, I'm hitting reset. Because one new choice can change your entire direction. Reset your mind, and the rest will follow. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's not a single event, a lucky break, or one bold decision that changes everything. Success is built one small, intentional action at a time. It's the compound result of what you do daily, not what you do occasionally. That's why habits matter more than goals. Goals set your direction, but habits decide your destination. Most people dream of success, but they underestimate the power of consistency in the small things, the quiet, repetitive actions that nobody sees. They want the results without the rituals. But the truth is, you can't rise higher than your habits. Your habits are the foundation of your identity. They are the proof of what you truly value, not what you merely wish for. High achievers understand this better than anyone. They don't wait for motivation, and they don't rely on luck. They build systems, routines that make success automatic. Every day, they're laying bricks one at a time. Each morning routine, each workout, each hour of focused work. It may not look impressive today, but it's building something powerful over time. Because success is not a single leap, it's a staircase, and every habit is another step upward. Look at the most successful people in America: athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, or leaders. You'll find a pattern. Their greatness is rooted in discipline. They wake up early not because it's easy, but because it gives them control. They plan their day because they value focus. They read, learn, and refine because growth is part of their identity. These habits aren't glamorous. They're often boring. But they're what separates high performers from everyone else. In a culture obsessed with quick wins and instant gratification, the people who win long-term are the ones who play the long game. They understand that habits create momentum, and momentum creates transformation. When you build strong habits, you eliminate decision fatigue. You stop wasting mental energy debating whether or not to do the right thing. You just do it. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth every morning. It's automatic. That's what success habits eventually become. Automatic. You build them until they become a part of who you are. It's easy to set big goals like, I want to get fit, I want to start a business, or I want to improve my mindset. But those goals mean nothing without the habits behind them. The habit of showing up at the gym, the habit of reading and learning every day, the habit of choosing growth over comfort. You can't control the timing of success, but you can control your effort every single day. And that's where habits come in. Habits are like interest on your investments. The small effort you put in today compounds over time. You might not notice it after one day, 1 week, or even 1 month, but after a year, that steady effort transforms your life. That's why top performers don't chase perfection. They chase consistency. They know they won't win every day, but they make sure they show up every day. Because even on your worst day, showing up keeps your momentum alive. Habits also build confidence. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you strengthen your trust in yourself. You stop needing external validation because your actions prove your character. That self-trust is the foundation of every great achievement. But here's something people don't talk about enough. Bad habits are just as powerful. In the opposite direction. If your daily habits drain your energy, distract your focus, or feed your doubts, you're still building something, just not the future you want. Every repeated behavior is either constructing your dreams or reinforcing your limits. That's why awareness is key. The moment you become conscious of your habits, you gain the power to change them. Building new habits takes patience. It's not about massive change overnight. It's about small, consistent wins. If you can do something for 5 minutes a day, you can build momentum. If you can repeat it for a week, you're building consistency. If you can stick with it for a month, it's becoming identity. The brain loves patterns. The more you repeat an action, the easier it becomes. That's how discipline turns into lifestyle. Think of habits as the invisible architecture of success. People might admire the skyscraper, but the foundation, the daily routines, the quiet discipline, the unseen effort, is what holds everything together. So, how do you start building habits that last? Start small. Choose 1 or 2 key behaviors that align with your goals and master them. Don't overwhelm yourself with 10 new routines at once. Success is built by stacking wins, not chasing perfection. Want to improve your focus? Start by eliminating distractions for just 1 hour a day. Want to get healthier? Start with a 10-minute walk every morning. Want to grow mentally? Read 5 pages of a good book daily. Tiny actions, done consistently, create massive results over time. The most successful people in the world aren't superhuman. They're just consistent humans. They've learned that greatness isn't built in grand moments, but in daily discipline. In America's fast-paced, results-driven culture, everyone wants shortcuts. But the truth is there's no shortcut to sustained success. The real hack is habits. If you build the right habits, success becomes inevitable. Because your habits are your autopilot. They determine where you go, even when you're not thinking about it. So stop chasing intensity and start embracing consistency. Your habits today are shaping your future tomorrow. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. Just start by mastering your mornings, your mindset, and your routines. Do that every day, and soon you won't need to chase success. You'll become the kind of person success naturally follows. That's the power of habits. Quiet, steady, unstoppable. Growth and comfort can't coexist. One will always chase the other away. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary had to make the same decision: stay comfortable where they are or grow into who they're meant to be. Growth demands discomfort, and that's why most people avoid it. It's easier to stay where things feel safe, familiar, predictable. But the truth is, comfort zones are beautiful prisons. They're cozy, but they keep you small. High achievers understand this deeply. They know that real success doesn't come from doing what's easy. It comes from doing what's necessary. It comes from leaning into challenges that stretch you, scare you, and sometimes even break you open, because that's where transformation lives. The average person spends their life chasing comfort. The comfortable job, the comfortable routine, the comfortable level of effort. They avoid failure, fear rejection, and settle for good enough. They tell themselves they'll aim higher when the timing is better, when they're ready. But that day never comes, because growth never feels comfortable. The truth is, you will never feel 100% ready to level up. Growth doesn't come wrapped in certainty. It comes with resistance. And that resistance is not a sign to stop. It's a sign you're on the right path. When you chase growth, you enter a zone where you're forced to think differently, act courageously, and adapt constantly. That's where confidence is built, not from winning every time, but from surviving what once scared you. Top performers don't fear discomfort, they train for it. They know that pushing limits expands capacity. Every workout that burns, every hard conversation, every late night spent refining their craft, it's all growth disguised as struggle. They understand the formula. Growth to resistance plus adaptation. Just like muscles grow by tearing and rebuilding, your mindset strengthens every time you face challenge head-on. Comfort, on the other hand, numbs progress. It feels good temporarily, but it quietly erodes potential. You stop growing because you stop stretching. You settle into routines that require less of you, and over time, that comfort becomes a cage. In America, a nation built on risk, reinvention, and grit, every story of greatness begins with someone who chose growth over comfort. Entrepreneurs who risked everything. Athletes who trained when no one was watching. Artists who kept creating despite rejection. They all had moments when quitting felt easier. But they stayed in the discomfort long enough to turn pain into power. That's the secret most people miss. Growth isn't supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to challenge your limits. It's supposed to test your patience, your belief, your resilience. When you avoid discomfort, you're not protecting yourself, you're preventing your evolution. Think about it. Every major milestone in your life came after a period of discomfort. The first time you spoke in public, the first job interview, the first time you took a risk that scared you but paid off. Those moments didn't feel safe, but they shaped who you are. That's why the mindset of high achievers is built around embracing discomfort. They reframe fear as feedback. They see rejection as redirection. They understand that the uncomfortable path is often the path that leads to growth. If you only do what feels comfortable, you'll only get what you already have. Growth requires courage. The courage to start before you're ready, to fail without giving up, to learn instead of retreating. The next time you face something uncomfortable, a tough decision, a difficult conversation, a big risk, ask yourself, is this discomfort helping me grow? If the answer is yes, step into it, because that's where progress lies, right on the edge of your comfort zone. In business, growth happens when companies innovate, not when they play it safe. In fitness, growth happens when you push one more rep past the burn. In relationships, growth happens when you communicate honestly, even when it's uncomfortable. Growth is not glamorous. It's messy. It's full of uncertainty, self-doubt, and setbacks. But every time you push through, you evolve. You build mental muscle, the ability to stay calm, focused, and committed under pressure. And that's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The comfort zone may give you security, but it won't give you significance. It may feel safe, but it keeps you stuck. The growth zone, however, gives you purpose. It gives you energy, creativity, and momentum. It's where you discover what you're capable of. If you want to live a life that excites you, not just one that feels familiar, you have to choose growth over comfort every single day. That might mean saying yes to opportunities that scare you. It might mean setting higher standards for yourself. It might mean walking away from people or environments that no longer challenge you. Whatever it takes, do it, because nothing grows in comfort. Not your mindset, not your goals, not your potential. Every time you stretch, you step closer to the best version of yourself. And one day, the things that once felt impossible will feel easy, because you grew into the person capable of handling them. So stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting for fear to disappear. It won't. But courage doesn't mean being fearless. It means acting despite the fear. The comfort zone will whisper, "Stay here, it's safe." But the growth zone will whisper louder, "Move forward." You're ready? You'll never regret outgrowing your comfort zone, but you will regret staying trapped by it, because comfort fades, growth lasts. So the next time life gives you two choices, easy or meaningful, choose meaningful, choose growth every time. That's how top performers stay ahead. That's how success is built, not by avoiding discomfort, but by mastering it. Who you surround yourself with determines how high you rise or how fast you sink. You can have the best goals, the sharpest skills, and the strongest work ethic. But if the people around you don't challenge you, inspire you, or believe in your potential, you'll eventually slow down to match their pace. That's the truth most people overlook. Your environment shapes your energy. The people in your circle are either elevators or anchors. Elevators lift you. They expand your thinking, fuel your motivation, and push you to grow. Anchors, on the other hand, keep you stuck. They drain your energy, feed your doubts, and pull you back to the comfort of mediocrity. If you want to go far, you need to choose your circle intentionally. Look around you. Who's speaking into your life? Are they pushing you forward or pulling you down? Do they celebrate your progress, or do they feel threatened by it? These questions matter because success is not built in isolation. Every high achiever you admire has one thing in common. They're surrounded by people who expect more of them than they expect of themselves. In America's fast-moving, competitive culture, success is often portrayed as a solo mission. The self-made entrepreneur, the lone dreamer who beat the odds. But if you look closer, no one really does it alone. Behind every story of achievement is a circle, mentors, peers, coaches, friends, who lifted them higher. That's what it means to surround yourself with elevators. Elevators are the people who see potential in you even when you doubt yourself. They don't let you settle. They challenge your excuses and remind you of your purpose. They don't compete with you. They collaborate with you. They're not intimidated by your growth. They're inspired by it. And here's the best part. When you're around people who operate at a higher frequency, your own standards rise automatically. You start thinking bigger, acting bolder, and believing deeper. Because energy is contagious. When you're surrounded by ambition, you start feeling more ambitious. When you're surrounded by discipline, you start becoming more disciplined. The opposite is also true. Spend too much time with negative, complacent, or cynical people, and their mindset starts to seep into yours. You begin lowering your goals to fit in instead of raising your standards to stand out. Anchors often come disguised as friends, co-workers, or even family members. They're not always malicious. Sometimes they simply don't share your vision. They want you to stay the same because it makes them feel safe. Your growth makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to face their own stagnation. That's why breaking free from anchor relationships isn't easy, but it's necessary. You can love people without letting them limit you. You can care about them and still create boundaries. You can be kind without shrinking yourself to make them comfortable. High achievers understand that loyalty to your purpose must come before loyalty to your comfort zone, or to anyone who keeps you in it. In life, you will outgrow people, and that's okay. It's not arrogance, it's evolution. As you grow, your energy shifts. Your conversations change. Your priorities realign. Some people won't resonate with the new you, and that's a sign of progress, not loss. You're not meant to stay surrounded by the same voices forever. You're meant to evolve and attract new energy that matches your next level. Surround yourself with people who talk about goals, ideas, and solutions, not gossip, complaints, and problems. Find the ones who hold you accountable, who call you out, not just cheer you on. Because real friends won't just comfort you in your excuses, they'll challenge you to rise above them. In the U.S. entrepreneurial scene, there's a saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. That couldn't be more true. The right circle doesn't let you stay comfortable. It keeps you sharp, humble, and hungry. It reminds you that you're capable of more, and that you're not alone in the pursuit. Your circle should be a mirror of your future, not a reflection of your past. You want people who inspire you to level up, the dreamers who turn ideas into action, the doers who execute relentlessly, the believers who see the best in you when you can't see it yourself. And here's something powerful. Being around elevators doesn't just change what you do. It changes how you think. You start speaking differently. You think in terms of opportunities, not limitations. You develop a success mindset, a way of approaching life that focuses on solutions, growth, and contribution. So how do you find these elevators? Start by becoming one. If you want to attract driven, positive, growth-oriented people, you have to embody that energy yourself. Elevators attract elevators. When you bring enthusiasm, gratitude, and accountability into your relationships, you naturally draw people who live the same way. Start adding value to others' lives. Encourage someone. Support their dreams. Celebrate their wins. When you become someone who lifts others, your entire circle transforms. Over time, you'll notice that your energy shifts. You'll feel lighter, more driven, more focused. Because you're no longer dragging anchors, you're rising with elevators. And when your environment supports your evolution, success becomes inevitable. Remember, it's not just about who's around you, it's about what they bring out of you. If your circle doesn't inspire you, it's not a circle, it's a cage. Surround yourself with people who make you want to be better every single day. People who remind you of your power, not your limitations. Because in the end, success isn't just built by effort, it's built by environment. Choose your circle wisely. Walk with the driven, rise with the inspired, and never forget. The right people don't just walk beside you, they lift you higher. Failure. It's a word that most people fear, avoid, and misunderstand. But here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. Every success story you've ever heard, every entrepreneur, athlete, artist, or innovator you admire is built on a pile of failures. The difference between them and everyone else isn't that they failed less, it's that they learned more. Because to the high achievers of this world, failure isn't a finish line, it's a classroom. Every setback, every rejection, every mistake carries a message. It's feedback from life, telling you what doesn't work, where you can grow, and how you can adjust. But most people never stay long enough in the lesson. They fall once and quit. They fail and label themselves a failure. They confuse an event with an identity. That's where they go wrong. Because failure isn't who you are, it's something that happens for you, not to you. Top performers in every field share one common mindset. They extract wisdom from every loss. They see failure as a temporary detour, not a dead end. When an idea flops, when a deal falls through, when a dream doesn't go as planned, they don't ask, "Why me?" They ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That question changes everything, because failure only destroys you if you stop learning from it. The moment you treat it as feedback, it becomes fuel. Look at the most iconic names in American success stories. Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team before becoming one of the greatest athletes in history. Oprah Winfrey, fired from her first TV job before building a media empire. Walt Disney, told he lacked imagination. Steve Jobs, fired from the very company he founded before returning to revolutionize technology. Every one of them faced humiliation, doubt, and setbacks. But instead of letting failure define them, they let it refine them. They didn't let rejection break their confidence. They let it sharpen their focus. And that's the mindset difference between average and exceptional. See, failure hurts. It stings. It shakes your confidence. But it's supposed to. That pain is your mind signaling that you've hit your limits, and that's exactly where growth begins. You can't develop resilience in comfort. You can't build wisdom without mistakes. You can't create mastery without trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again. Failure humbles you. It teaches you patience. It forces you to listen, adapt, and evolve. It strips away ego and reveals character. That's why failure is such a powerful teacher. It gives lessons success can't. When you win, you celebrate. When you lose, you learn. And the learning is what makes future victories possible. In American culture, we're conditioned to celebrate the finished product. The highlight reels, the awards, the success stories. What we don't see are the countless failures that built the foundation beneath those moments. We forget that behind every bestseller are drafts that didn't work. Behind every viral product are prototypes that failed. Behind every confident performer were nights of self-doubt and anxiety. Failure is part of the process. Always. If you remove failure from your journey, you remove growth. The problem isn't failing. It's giving up before you've learned the lesson. When you start seeing failure as feedback, you take back your power. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstance and start acting like a student of success. You realize that every failed attempt is one step closer to getting it right, because each failure gives you data, insight into what doesn't work, what needs adjustment, and what to try next. It's the ultimate feedback loop for greatness. That's why high achievers fail faster. They're not afraid to test, fall, and refine. They move quickly because they know the faster they fail, the faster they learn. In Silicon Valley, there's a saying, fail fast, fail forward. It means don't waste time trying to be perfect. Take action, make mistakes, learn, and improve. That's how innovation happens. That's how leaders are made. Failure also builds empathy. When you've been through the grind, when you've faced disappointment and kept going, you develop compassion for yourself and for others. You stop fearing judgment because you understand that everyone is figuring it out as they go. You become less focused on appearing perfect and more focused on getting better. That shift is powerful because once you stop fearing failure, you become unstoppable. When failure no longer defines you, you start taking bolder actions. You pitch that idea. You start that business. You speak up. You take the risk. And even when it doesn't work out, you know it's not the end. It's a step. Failure isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's proof that you're trying something new. So, instead of running from failure, start studying it. Instead of hiding your mistakes, learn from them. Instead of fearing feedback, crave it. Because the people who learn the fastest win the longest. Think of every great inventor, leader, or creator you admire. Their greatness didn't come from perfection. It came from persistence. They kept showing up when others quit. They used every no, every misstep, every failure as information, as feedback, and turned it into transformation. So the next time you fall short, don't let shame take over. Don't spiral into self-doubt. Instead, pause and ask, what did this experience teach me about myself, my craft, or my next step? Because if you get the lesson, you didn't really fail, you grew. And that's what success truly is, a series of lessons learned faster than most people are willing to learn them. Failure doesn't define your story, it refines your strategy. Every time you fall and rise again, you become stronger, smarter, and more resilient. So don't fear failure. Use it. Let it be your feedback, your coach, your guide, because the people who embrace failure are the ones who eventually redefine success. Everyone loves the moment of success, the applause, the breakthrough, the viral moment, the award, the headline. But what people rarely see is the process that built it, the long nights, the quiet sacrifices, the failed attempts, the moments of doubt that almost made someone quit. We live in a culture that celebrates results, but forgets the grind behind them. We see the highlight reel, not the rehearsal. We admire the outcome, not the journey. But the truth is this: success is never a single moment. It's a long process of consistent effort, growth, and perseverance. Every overnight success you've ever heard about actually took years of unseen work. Every lucky break came after countless moments of preparation. Success isn't about one big event. It's about the hundreds of small decisions that no one notices. High achievers understand this deeply. They don't chase instant gratification. They play the long game. They know that progress often feels invisible. You put in the work day after day, and it looks like nothing is happening. You doubt yourself, you question your path, you wonder if it's worth it. But those are the exact moments when the foundation is being built. Because success doesn't show up all at once. It grows silently, beneath the surface, just like roots before a tree breaks the ground. Think about it: when you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You water it, nurture it, and trust the process. That's exactly how success works. In the U.S., where the pace of life is fast and the pressure to make it is constant, people often expect instant results. But that mindset destroys progress, because success requires patience, not just passion. The world's most successful people, the innovators, athletes, and entrepreneurs, all have one thing in common: they respect the process. They understand that mastery takes time. They don't rush the journey. They fall in love with it. Kobe Bryant didn't become great because of one championship. He became great because of the countless hours in the gym when no one was watching. Elon Musk didn't build rockets overnight. He spent years testing, failing, iterating, and learning. Serena Williams didn't become a legend by showing up once. She built a legacy by showing up every single day. Those moments of glory you see, the trophies, the records, the applause, are just the visible part of a much longer, quieter story. That's why it's dangerous to measure your worth by moments of validation. Success isn't about a single win. It's about who you become through the process. The process shapes your mindset. It builds your discipline. It tests your resilience. It refines your character. Because every day you choose to keep going, even when you're tired, even when no one's watching, you're strengthening the part of yourself that success depends on. And here's what most people don't realize: when you finally reach that moment of success, it's not the moment itself that changes you. It's the process that got you there. The long nights you endured, the failures you bounced back from, the habits you built, the patience you learned. That's what real success is. Not the event, but the evolution. In today's world, social media has made it harder to appreciate the process. Everyone posts their wins, but few share their struggles. It creates an illusion that success is fast, easy, and glamorous. But behind every polished post is someone who once questioned themselves, someone who failed, regrouped, and tried again. When you focus on the process instead of the moment, you take back your power. You stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You stop chasing quick fixes and start building sustainable growth. Because the truth is, shortcuts never last. Fast success fades fast. But what's earned through patience, persistence, and purpose, that stays. Success is not a destination. It's a daily decision. It's the choice to show up when you don't feel like it. The choice to practice when no one's watching. The choice to believe in your vision when others don't. Those small choices, repeated over time, create momentum, and momentum creates miracles. So if you're working hard right now and don't see results, keep going. You're in the process. You're building something that will eventually be unshakable. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Some of the most important growth happens internally, in your mindset, your discipline, your belief. Success is like a sunrise. It starts in the dark, slowly, quietly, and then suddenly everything lights up. You don't need to rush it. You just need to trust it. Every late night, every setback, every no you've faced is part of the process shaping you into the person capable of handling success when it comes. Because success isn't just about achieving your goals, it's about becoming the kind of person who can sustain them. The process prepares you for that, so don't crave the moment. Crave the mastery. Don't chase applause. Chase alignment. Don't just want to win. Want to grow. Because when you fall in love with the process, the results take care of themselves. Your job isn't to force success, it's to commit to the process that leads to it. Every day you invest in your craft, your habits, your mindset, you're moving closer to that moment. And when it finally arrives, it won't surprise you, because you'll know you earned it. Success is not a lightning strike. It's a slow burn. It's built through effort, patience, and faith in your journey. So keep going. Keep showing up. Keep trusting the process. Because one day, the world will see what you've been building all along, and they'll call it success. But you'll know it was the process that made you who you are. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right time, the right job, the right connection, the right chance. They wait for doors to open, for luck to show up, for someone to discover them. But high achievers, they don't wait for opportunities. They create them. Because the truth is, opportunity doesn't knock, it responds. It responds to effort, to courage, to persistence, and to motion. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. You can have all the talent, all the intelligence, all the ambition, but if you're waiting for perfect conditions, you'll be waiting forever. Top performers know this. They understand that the perfect moment never comes. So instead of waiting for chances, they make them. They create movement, and movement attracts momentum. Think about the people who built America's greatest success stories. From entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley to musicians in Nashville. From small town dreamers to Wall Street innovators. None of them sat around waiting for permission. They started with what they had, where they were, and built from there. When Walt Disney couldn't find a studio that believed in him, he built his own. When Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television, she created her own network. When Steve Jobs couldn't find a company to join that matched his vision, he started Apple in his garage. They didn't wait for opportunity, they invented it. That's the mindset that separates dreamers from doers, because here's the truth: most people never hear opportunity, rarely arrives gift wrapped. It comes disguised as hard work, as challenges, as risks, as setbacks. The door doesn't open when you knock once, it opens after you've been willing to knock 100 times. In the U.S., where competition is fierce and attention is short, The people who rise are the ones who take initiative. They don't complain about what's missing, they create what's next. They network when others stay silent. They pitch when others procrastinate. They build when others wait for funding. They find ways instead of excuses. And that's the ultimate difference creators act while dreamers wait. Waiting feels safe. It feels comfortable. But comfort zones are where opportunities die. If you want to do something big, you have to be willing to move before you're ready. Start the business before it's perfect. Launch the idea before you have all the answers. Send the message, take the meeting, post the video, even when your voice shakes, because every action you take opens another door. Here's something most people overlook. Opportunities multiply when you take them. Each time you step forward, you create ripples, new people, new perspectives, new paths. The universe doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards initiative. When you move, life moves with you. That's why you'll never hear a successful person say, "I just got lucky." Because luck is simply preparation meeting action. If you're prepared and you move, you create your own luck. Let's be honest, waiting feels like safety. It feels like control. But in reality, waiting is fear in disguise. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of judgment. And fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. So you have a choice. You can wait for the perfect conditions, or you can create progress from imperfect ones. Because the truth is, the people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, they didn't start with certainty. They started with courage. They didn't have a guarantee. They had a vision, and they acted on it again and again until the world noticed. Creating opportunity means being bold enough to build something from nothing. It means networking when you don't know anyone, pitching ideas when you're nervous, putting yourself out there when you might fail. It means saying, "I'll figure it out," instead of, "I'll wait until I'm ready." Read that again. "I'll figure it out." That's the mindset of a high achiever. You'll never have it all figured out before you start. No one does. But you figure it out by starting. Every small action compounds. Every conversation you have, every email you send, every video you post, every risk you take. It adds up. That's how momentum is born, through movement, not meditation. So stop waiting for opportunity. Stop waiting for the right time, the right person, the right moment. The right time is when you decide to move. Every successful person started somewhere uncertain, scared, or unprepared, but they acted. And that action became the seed that grew into everything they dreamed of. When you create opportunities, you stop being a passenger in your own life and become the driver. You stop asking for permission and start building possibilities. You stop chasing luck and start generating it. And here's the best part. When you start creating opportunities for yourself, you begin creating them for others too. Your courage gives others permission to believe. Your effort inspires others to start. Your story becomes proof that it's possible. That's how movements begin, with one person who decides to act instead of wait. So if you're sitting on a dream, stop waiting for the stars to align. You don't need luck. You need action. You don't need permission. You need purpose. You don't need opportunity. You are the opportunity. Every skill, every connection, every chance you've ever wanted is waiting on the other side of one decision, the decision to move. Take that first step, no matter how small. Reach out, build, launch, speak. Because once you start moving, the world starts responding. Doors you never saw before will begin to open. People you never imagined will cross your path. And one day, you'll look back and realize You didn't find your opportunity. You built it. So stop waiting for the knock. Be the one who knocks. Be the one who creates. Be the one who moves. Because opportunity doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the bold.